Hello everyone, I am here to tell you that I am making the game of my dreams. It is an open world, first person, massively multiplayer online roleplay, real-time strategy, survival craft base building, management shooter. Okay, I got all that the first try. That was effort. We're calling this new genre the Aufmurgerz. Alright, let's just call it. So this is a giant game that covers a lot of different genres and does everything that I want a video game to do. You may have a couple questions for me, like, is it overscoped? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is massively overscoped. You may also ask, do you have the resources to do what it is that you say you're going to do? And my answer is, shut up. So there are two key pillars to my dream game. The first pillar is that the game is a living world where nations and nature goes around you. It doesn't care about you until you make it care. The second pillar is the reason why there are so many different genres mashed into this, and that is this is an RPG where, depending on your choices on the skill tree, the genre of the game as a whole changes. If you put all of your points into the command tree, the game turns into an RPG. If you put all of your points into combat, you become stronger and stronger and stronger, and you become a better and better fighter until armies invite you to be their champions in battle. If you put all of your points into combat, you become extraordinarily powerful, and armies start to invite you to be their champion to fight before the big battle even happens. Put all of your points in nature, and you become a monster tamer or an alchemist. Alright, so the first prototype requires motion. Things to move around, the world to change as the player plays it. I have simplified this down and everything that I want in the world down to just a couple basic elements that I threw together. There are structures that I spread out around a square map that each has its own little purpose. Villages produce resources that they send back to the city in wagons. Castles build up defensive forces and provide a little protective aura in the area around them. And cities collect the resources to produce armies. There are 3 kinds of armies in this prototype that each has a basic function. Scouts will randomly travel around the map until they see something interesting and then run back to the city to let them know about it. The city will then produce attackers to go attack whatever thing was interesting, as one does. And defenders will go to undefended territories and patrol the area around them looking for bad guys. Put all of these little things together, and you have 2 small nations going to war with each other. There is also a nature system to simulate the natural world. As you can see, nature is a constant growing force, but it slowly shrinks in places where there is constant travel. When nature gets strong enough, there is a chance for it to spawn a monster. Monsters randomly travel around the map, but they're weighted to stay in more natural territory. And they'll attack anything that gets too close, including other monsters. When a monster wins a fight, its maximum health goes up. And their natural healing rate is affected by how much nature they're in. So if they're in a lot of nature, they heal very, very quickly. If there's nothing around, they won't heal at all. Naturally, I wanted my prototype to have gameplay to it so I could find out how it felt to be in a world that was constantly moving around you and doesn't really care about you. So I added a simple player controller where you can collect resources by capturing enemy territory, killing armies, and slaying monsters. And you can collect points that you can then spend in the city to buy better abilities, new materials, and get access to special command abilities and magic abilities. So the second prototype is going to be the one that focuses on gameplay, so I didn't put too much effort into the player. It's just basic movement, basic attacks, and a couple abilities. The latest addition since my last video on this subject is a proper ends to the game. Normally, once you capture all of the enemy territory, it's just the game is over and there's nothing. There's no end screen, there's no game over, there's no point distribution, there's nothing. Now, when you finally win, it's time for the apocalypse. Giant monsters spawn everywhere, their pathing changes, so instead of going to nature, they go to you. And your final point total is how many seconds you survive. I think this is a pretty solid way of summarizing how I want the final game to end. There's a big battle to take out the enemy city, you win, suddenly the sky turns red, and every major threat that hasn't been dealt with yet becomes 10 times stronger, and 10 times faster, and 10 times smarter, and 10 times scarier. If anybody is interested, the prototype is currently available on itch, both as a browser game and a download. And if anybody is interested in the second pillar, where I focus on gameplay and player mechanics, I have not picked an engine for that yet. I am moving away from Unity. It's probably going to be in Unreal, just because that seems to be the most popular one for the big 3D games. But we'll see. I've got a bunch of engines I can try out. Thanks to John Riccatello, the game engine ecosystem has been booming lately. If you're interested in seeing what comes next, please like and subscribe. I do videos on game development and maker projects.